Hey everybody, this is Great Lakes D&D. It's another Chillin' with the Cast episode where we shoot the shit about random shit. Here at the table we have Devon, the Dungeon Master.
What's up?
We have Joel, who plays Chomper.
Hello.
And this is Ace.
As you can probably hear after that short amount of silence, we are missing two people from the table, and that would be Salix, played by Josh Williams, and Luffy, played by Mason Powell. They were here for the Discord call that we had in order to record episode number 4. Which, for how long it is going to be broke up into 2 different pieces.
It's going to be a 2-parter, that one.
Definitely ran away from me.
It's okay.
But it's a good episode.
Yes.
A lot of information.
Yep.
So just if you listen to that one,
fights, but
hang in there.
Yeah.
Hang in there, a lot of story points, so.
But, as our buddy Ace here just said, this is an episode of Chillin' with the Cast, and I think our topics for tonight are going to be a little bit spooky.
Spooky?
It's a little bit spooky.
Okay. What do you got in mind?
So, during this past few weeks that just went by, that Winchester job that I was telling you guys about. You guys remember that?
Believe so.
Which one?
So the Winchester job was the one I think was in our first podcast.
Yeah.
I was talking about how I was working third shift there and stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So the inspiration behind the topics for tonight kind of came from that. So ultimately what I want you guys to kind of think about is whether or not you believe in ghosts.
Oh, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
I believe in ghosts.
And your second is what you think have been your most personal encounter with them, and what you think has been like the most scariest encounter, if there have been multiple.
I've never had a scary encounter.
I don't think I have really either. I do believe in ghosts, or like, if you didn't want to say like a ghost, like
Spirits.
other things, I guess.
We believe in spirits.
But I don't think I've ever had like a truly like, I don't know, like scary or something,
Have you had anything?
If you can't think of
I-
anything personally,
I think there's definitely a personal thing, and I don't really want to dig into details on that one, for reasons. But yeah, I think yeah.
Well, I'll begin, and while I'm going, I guess you guys can kind of nail down what you guys are willing to share.
Oh, I got
That's fair.
So, a couple things I have. So, like I said, this Winchester job that we just did is pretty much the inspiration behind tonight's episode. And the reason for that is because, and I didn't believe anything was going on, but while we're there working during the night and installing tile and prepping the floors and doing what we gotta do, there's a carpenter that's working there. And this carpenter is going around and making sure, like, all of their benches and stuff are solid, replacing parts to those that need to be replaced, doing that kind of work, right? Well, much like a lot of these, like, smaller style restaurant buildings that are in the Grand Rapids area, or in, like, the downtown area, they're very, very old.
Right.
So, we're there working. And we're chipping away at like wall tile and stuff, stripping off the old stuff off the walls. But over the floors, we set over the old stuff because we just prepped it. But anyway, we have a lot of dust that's accumulating throughout the building. And the reason for that is because there is ceiling fans that are sporadic through this whole entire restaurant.
Just stirring the shit up.
So one of our guys goes through and pulls down on the first one. He pulls down once, and the fan goes from going to fast to slow, and then pulls down again.
Oh, you mean like a pull string?
Pull
Okay,
string.
yeah. Okay, all right.
And he figures out that 2 pulls is what it takes to turn these fans off, right?
Right.
Well, he goes through and does all the fans, and they all shut off. Well, all of a sudden, there's a fan that is set over, like, this table in the back corner. It turns back on at full speed. So, immediately, I'm just not even thinking about it. I'm just like, wow, you must have fucked up somehow turning it off. Like,
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so Aaron's like, yeah, okay, that's what it was. So he goes back up there, pulls it twice, and shuts it off again. Well, the carpenter's going nuts about this already. He's like, man, I'm telling you, this is an old building. There's got to be something fishy going on.
So right away, he was like,
oh yeah, he's going nuts. He's like, there's paranormal shit in here, man. Call the Ghostbusters. So I'm just like, no way. So I take this opportunity to start fucking with him, kind of. So I go outside to take a break and, get some cool night air. And I'm out there just taking a drink of water while Carpenter comes out to smoke a cigarette. And our guy comes out and he's basically doing the same thing I am. Well, all of a sudden I look up to the second story of this building and I'm like, oh my God, there's somebody watching us.
Get the fuck out of here.
This Carpenter, I shit you not, takes his cigarette and he's like taking a drag off it, so how the cherry lights up when you take a drag off it. He keeps the cigarette in his mouth, but the cherry goes dim, like he's not sucking on it anymore.
He's just holding it there.
And so he all of a sudden like, what do you mean? Passes a cigarette that's in his mouth, and I'm like, dude, there's somebody that's poking out through the blinds. I can clearly see it. The blinds are separated.
Now you said you were fucking with them?
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't see it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was following. You didn't actually see anything.
He says he's still got probably 2/3 of the cigarette left. He flicks it.
He's like, this thing.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. And he goes and looks at all the windows. He's like, wait, which one? Which one? I said that one. And I'm just saying that from behind him, not pointing anywhere. And he's like, which one? I'm like, that one right there. What? The one on the end? I'm like, no, the one next to it. So the one in the middle. I'm like, wow, no, that one didn't have blinds in it. It's got to be the one all the way on the other end. He's like, oh, he's looking and doesn't see nothing. So I'm just laughing, and he doesn't even realize what the hell's going on. So, as I'm like chuckling, and this dude's like legit freaking out, he's now talking about packing his shit up and leaving.
For real? He was like, I'm done, dude.
He's like, fuck this, I'm coming back during the day. There's something weird going on here. You guys need to be careful here. I'm like, just take it easy. So, I'm chuckling and going back inside.
That's awesome.
As I go back inside, and I set my water bottle down like one of the tables where people eat and shit, I look back up, that fucking fan's back on.
Faulty wiring.
That's what I chalked it up to.
Dude. Those old, like you said, they're old
it's
fucking
an old
building,
yeah.
So maybe. But then again,
so
would faulty wiring just?
I don't know.
Would it like?
I don't know.
Would it be able to like click the fan out? You know what I mean? Like, because you have to pull it.
Well, what stirs me up just a little. So my guy walked in, our worker, my coworker, and he walks in and he sees that, and all of a sudden his eyes go about as wide as softballs.
He's like, why the fuck?
He's like, wait a minute, dude.
So let me get it. There's a guy with you. You both work for the same place.
Yes.
So it's you and him.
Yep.
And the one carpenter.
And my coworker is the one that has shut that fan off twice now.
Okay, so there's only you three total in this place.
Yes.
And you were all together outside.
Yeah.
So when you came back in, it was still on.
Yeah.
Or it came back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't know enough about
I don't either.
Electrical, you know what I mean? I don't know if it would be possible if there was like a short.
So me and my coworker spent all night trying to talk to each other about that, and I finally just told him, I said, listen, dude, I'm a tile guy.
I was gonna say, hey, if anybody does listen to this and you know about electrical, I mean,
if there's anything that could have caused that, yes, please comment down below.
Because obviously, if it had a pull string to like switch it on and off, is it possible for like faulty wiring?
And this is twice now.
See, I don't see how. I don't know.
I literally don't know.
I'm very curious to know.
The only thing, and this is the one thing that I was clutching onto basically, was every single time he pulled it and stopped it, he stopped it with his hand. So maybe the pull string on that fan doesn't work, and he's just stopping it with his hand, and the thing's just starting to go again.
Slowly picks back up speed.
But that means it's picking up slowly, because it's staying stopped for like a solid 5 minutes after he stopped.
It wouldn't do that. Not if it was still.
No.
Did anything else happen weird?
No, not really. I think that was pretty much the only thing, yeah. I mean, after that occurrence happened, they had a bathroom that was all the way in the basement of this place, which is where, like, they keep all, like, the cookingware and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I went down there to use it. I think this is the day after. And the thought of that fan kept running in my mind and, like, what I had said to the carpenter. So I went down there to take a leak.
You freaked yourself out.
Oh, I kid you not. I flushed that goddamn toilet so fucking fast and borked it upstairs. Like a little kid that was in the parents' basement.
Yup, gotta flip the light switch and run up the stairs.
I flipped all the lights on, and even still I was scared shitless. Didn't even waste time to turn all of them off as it came back up.
Well, okay. So, like I said, I've had a personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't really want to get into that for my own reasons. But when I was working at the hospital, I was working security at the hospital. I didn't even think about this when you first asked, but when you are alone, and I don't know if it's just your mind playing tricks on you, but we're talking about an old hospital.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night. I did both. I was at Mercy and I was at Hackley. I would work both.
Okay.
So middle of the night. I mean, we're talking from like midnight to 8 in the morning. So you're walking through these halls.
Graveyard shift.
There's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no patients walking around. There's hardly any staff. And we would be down in like the basement areas, making sure there's no leaks or fires or just stuff like that. And if you were just quiet and you just were kind of like slowly walking, you would definitely get the feeling that you were being watched. And I don't know if that's your own mind playing tricks on you, which it probably was. But I got to know one of the maintenance guys there pretty well, and he said, and I don't think he was fucking with me. I think he was actually being serious. I think he believed it. He said, like, there was a maintenance guy that always wore this, like a green...
like bibs, essentially.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he said he wore, like, these thick, like, like big, thick, like, coat glasses.
Yeah, bottle cap glasses.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
And he said he was an older guy that had worked there, and he eventually passed away, or whatever. Well, he said a lot of the time you could see him if it was, slow and nobody was around and it was quiet. You would see him walking down the halls of the maintenance areas.
Really?
He said you could see him walking, and if you followed him, he would, if like you went around the corner and you followed him, then he wouldn't be there. And it was really eerie, to think about that, because I occasionally had, because I was a supervisor, so a lot of the time I was, I did some of the stuff by myself. Sometimes we had people walk with us. So there was that. And one of the areas in the Hackley Hospital, I guess, is where they used to have the old, like, incinerator.
Oh, God.
So there were steps. There were these old, like, stone steps that led down to this area, and the ovens or whatever aren't there anymore. But when you stand there, and I think it's just knowing what they were there for, it's a very weird feeling.
It's an eerie,
and
souls were lost here.
I've heard, like I said, I've heard different stories between staff members where I definitely think that in old hospitals like that, there's definitely some people that probably, if you believe in spirits and maybe not leaving on the best of terms and stuff like that, that there's probably people that stick around. You know what I mean?
Prisons and jails, hospitals are by far what I know is like the second highest for like paranormal activity.
Yep, and like I said, when we go into, I'm actually getting chills thinking about it right now. I can feel it in my heart. There was some of the, like I said, just these places that normal people can't get to.
Yeah.
You know, they're locked. You would never see them. They're just maintenance areas.
So when you guys see somebody random there, it really like kind of sends a red flag. Like, wait.
Well, that's the thing. You never ran into anybody.
Oh.
There were never people. I mean, yeah, when you're walking through like the regular hallways and stuff, but we're talking about like mechanical rooms.
Yeah. Like places that are clearly locked.
They're locked. You can't get through them. We would never see any people in there.
Uh-huh.
But it's, like I said, it's still sometimes like you feel like you're being watched.
Yeah. Like even though you know that nobody's supposed to be there, you feel like
somebody
else is there.
You can literally tell, you can see that because they're not big.
Yeah.
Well, some of them are pretty big, but you can still tell there's nobody actually there. But it still feels like you're not alone. So I really didn't like
spookified.
Because we were supposed to do like our rounds, and I really didn't like doing that because of that feeling. And I know, or I'm pretty sure a lot of it was my own mind playing tricks on me, just because, you know, the scary movies and stuff that you see. And but I don't know. There were those times that are like you said, you're a little kid, and you're standing at the bottom of the stairs, and you hit the light switch, and you run as fast as you can.
For real, yeah.
There were definitely times that it's like, you know, I'm getting a really bad vibe. Let's just get the hell out of here. Let's go back. You know, let's go back to our office where we know there's people. Like,
yeah.
Maybe we're good for now, you know? So I don't know. I didn't think about that at first, but I'm glad I thought about that. Because
Well, Joel.
Well, before I go to my ghost
CHOMPER,
stories, to the whole thing where Corbin was feeling like he was being watched, there's a whole conspiracy theory about it's your future self looking back on that day. Or remembering that certain time.
That gave me chills.
That's weird.
I don't like thinking about that.
Yeah,
that's
you
wild.
ever feel like you're being watched.
Ugh.
It's your future self looking back on that day.
That was weird.
As like a memory?
As a memory.
Oh, God. I don't like that.
Ooh.
We can skip that altogether. We're going to skip that. Keep this rolling.
I like that, but I hate it.
I don't... Like I said, I heard the stories and I had those awkward or weird feelings. It's an old hospital. Well, first off, let me say, I don't think there was ever anything that I was like, I seen anything and was like, fuck, that was a ghost or something not human.
But at the same point,
you
never do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I never, like...
You guys might not have.
I never 100% seen something like, yo, that wasn't a person, because I did go into the areas. I went into the morgues. I seen deceased people. I was in the places that normal people don't go.
Yeah.
And
that aren't meant for
I seen things
people.
I didn't want to see, but it was never like, yo, that was some paranormal stuff or that was a ghost. Like if you were walking in the halls, I would just assume like it's an old hospital, so sounds probably do travel down like these empty hallways.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you'd be like, "Oh, what was that?" Like maybe you heard a voice or something. And I mean, the hospital's not completely empty.
And like you said, it's an old hospital.
It's an old hospital. It does make noises and stuff. You know, the machines and stuff in there.
Yeah.
So.
But at the same time,
I'm sure sounds travel. It's one of those like
when
it's
you're
like
alone.
Oh shit, was that? But it was never like there was a, you know how they have.
I hear footsteps.
Well you would sometimes, but who knows where they were coming from? Yeah. But you know those little computers they have on carts that they roll around,
like trolley.
Yeah, basically I guess.
Like
they're on a stand. It was never like one of those rolled out of a room.
Oh, you're talking about like the actual like where they show your heart rate and stuff. Like one of those stands.
It's an actual computer, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was never like one of those like randomly rolled out into the hallway and you're like, yo, that was fucking, that was some ghost shit.
Yeah.
It was just weird, creepy, uneasy feelings. But
Joel is somehow saying.
Yeah, I gotta hear this.
Close in person.
So I'm done. You take it over, man. What do you got?
I've had two.
All right.
Those are both at work, but I'm going to give you my very, very personal.
Now, were you okay? All right. I'm gonna go
So this was right after my grandma died. This was about 2 months after.
Okay.
I was just getting out of the shower. It was 2014.
Okay.
And this was, I believe it was like a Thursday night or like a weekday because I was going to school the next day. I get out of the shower and on our mirror it says, "Help me, Joel."
Was it actually a steamed up mirror?
Yeah, it was a full steamed up mirror.
I'm not trying to take away from it. I'm just looking.
Was
for
there
answers.
anybody that
Before me? No.
Was your little brother like fucking with you?
No, because he didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
I was the first one to take a shower.
Was the door locked?
Our doors don't lock, but no one opened the door. I would heard it. There was nothing on the mirror. No, like smear lines on there. Like someone tried to write something on there before, like it would show up.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably shit my pants. I would have probably blown right through.
That was my first ever.
I was blown right
with,
through.
like
Steps back calmly into the shower and closes.
Oh, hell no, dude. I'd freaking right through that fucking door.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't get out of that
Kicks the
goddamn
door
bathroom.
down. No towel, no nothing.
Get me the fuck out of here.
Mom!
Okay, that's
yeah,
the
that's
second
fuck yeah.
one was when I was working at a grocery store called Plums.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, same.
Way back before.
So same location now, though, right? Different name.
It's Lefix, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so same location.
Yeah,
and he's
same
at
location.
now.
So what you guys don't know, who listening, if you guys don't know, we're in our hometown, a nearby town called Newaygo, they had a place that was called Plums. This was like a family market kind of deal. It was like a basically just like a grocery store.
Kind of like Walmart, but smaller.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, basically, like a lot of kids from our school, fresh out of high school, like work there, kind of, just as like a passive.
It was like a high
job.
school job, yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually it got taken over and got turned into a franchise called Leppings. So
Leppings owns that whole strip.
Plums went bankrupt and then basically emptied out the building, and Leppings came in and bought the building.
See, I thought there was an in between gap between Plums
No.
and what they are now.
No.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
No,
think
there
there
wasn't.
was. No,
There wasn't.
I don't think there was. 'Cause
You were there
Yeah,
this
I-
whole time.
I went from Plum straight to Leppings. There was a 3-month gap of no one going in there.
Okay, so
Did
just
you
went straight
leave
back to-
Plums right when they were going out of business?
I left Plums the day we had nothing in the store.
Yeah.
We were
See,
finishing cleaning up the store, and I was done.
because when I worked there, and mind you, I graduated in 2013, so I mean, like literally when I worked there, it was a year and a half before I graduated, and then I worked there for probably I think I worked there for a whole entire year basically, and then after that went and worked at a gas station after that. But right when I was leaving, there was talk of them not doing good.
Probably right when you were leaving was the talk of when they were supposed to get a pay raise, and they never got it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
So-
pretty much.
Because I came when they got that pay raise.
So that's the
So-
backstory. But
Yes.
I was working third shift. Everyone was together at this point. We were just up front. We were done doing the load. We were done facing. We were just talking for a little bit. No one was in the store. But we were all together, and all of a sudden, we heard this loud crash. It was down aisle 3, and we were all the way down at the other end of the store.
Mhm.
It was just this loud crash, like a bunch of cans just went down to the ground. So we were all
off of the shelf.
off the shelf.
Not like a skid broke open.
No. It's like cans went off the shelf. Someone went grabbed them and just flung them to the floor.
Really?
Oh, shit.
We walked down there, and there was maybe 8 cans on the floor, and we don't know how they got there.
Did you ever watch the camera? Yes,
There was no
thank
cameras
you.
down that aisle.
Really?
Ooh.
Which aisle is this?
Aisle 2.
All right.
That's weird.
So
Yeah.
for anybody wondering what aisle the steel shit,
Well, Leppings, I don't know the
Leppings
cameras.
probably is updated.
Leppings is
for
probably
legal
upgraded,
reasons,
yeah.
that was
Check
a
out
joke.
3. That's,
But yeah,
that's
we don't know
weird.
what was going on.
And there were no shithead teenagers that went
No,
running out.
there was no one in the store. We all walked around by ourselves, making sure.
See, even that though,
It was only.
I could just
And-
see
It wasn't
Yeah.
really in the
being in that area. I mean, there's
shit.
high school,
But
kids
the whole
fucking-
talk
We're
at Plums.
shitheads.
Yeah, we're shitheads.
The whole talk at Plums is there was an underground passage.
Oh,
And when the place was
stupid.
built in the very beginning, someone died there, supposedly. That's the whole story behind it. Now on to my third, which has happened at Jeans. And it happens almost every time I go clean floors.
Oh, that's why.
Every Saturday?
Every Saturday and Wednesday.
That's why he called in today. He didn't want
No,
to.
I've been working too much hours.
It is pretty wild that out of all the times you called in tonight and we're talking about it.
Yeah,
Joel,
I know, this is weird.
Joel, do you have the
this is weird.
keys?
What?
Do you have the keys on you?
We're not going there.
Let's go.
You want to
No.
get spooky?
Bring the recording gear.
No, we're not going
We're
there.
gonna
all of a
go.
sudden this turns into a paranormal
no.
podcast.
This is no longer Great Lakes Candy. We're switching to paranormal.
This one's scary.
Okay, I'm ready to get
So, like, I actually see a
figure.
Like, I'll be going down the aisles with the machine, and I'll, like, go towards the end, and, like, I do, like, my wide turn to go back down, and I'll see, like, this long hair going down an aisle farther down. Like, just, like, the last bit of its hair.
She dummy thick. Like
All I see is hair.
Disney jump.
All I see is hair.
So we don't know if she's.
I don't know. No, I don't.
Well, if you find out, you let us know.
As a dude, if you've seen a female ghost, would you be checking it out? But
All I see is its hair.
just long
What
hair.
color?
It's long hair, black, long black hair.
Long black hair.
That's all I see.
That's good for.
And I
That's
see it
spoopy. I don't
once
like
or
the sound of
twice a night.
long black hair, especially if you don't know if it's a female.
Well, it could be a dude.
That's spoopy.
We're gonna.
I see it like once or twice a night. But another story from Jeans was
You gotta watch the cameras, dude.
from
You have
one of
access to
our-
the cameras, don't you?
I don't know.
Who
No,
knows?
he does.
Our boss.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. Yeah.
But can't you be like, dude? You can't. Would he pull it up if you asked
No,
him?
no.
Really?
He wouldn't do it for me.
Why?
I'm a nobody doing for this spurt, to be honest with
But
you.
if you walked in and you said, "Hey, there's somebody in this building when I'm cleaning the floors," and
No,
had
like,
that
but-
wide-eyed, like crazy look,
But that's the thing. Like, there's
Look.
no one.
Look,
that's what I'm
go to
saying.
your
Yeah,
boss.
he'd be like, "Wait a minute."
Go to your boss. Like, dude, you might not care, but please, like, next time you know you've seen it, be like, look at your phone.
Here's the cover
Look
story.
at your phone. Be like, dude, at 102 or whatever, whenever you're there.
Yeah.
Be like, dude, I know I seen something. So, hey, don't even ask him. Be like, look, I don't even want to see it, because he might be weird about. Oh, I don't want to show you. Just be like,
Dude, that'd be
Oh, no,
scary
I've
for
seen-
him because if
Yeah.
he's just sitting there waiting, all of a sudden his boss comes out wide-eyed and all pale, and it's like,
wouldn't you rather know, dude? Because that's weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
Are you
listen to this next story. So, this is our cake designer. She works sometimes late at night or early in the morning.
Okay, we
And
have a
this
very
is-
eerie red.
This is back when
hue in the
Joseph
room.
was
yeah, I
managing.
like it.
I'm gonna.
This
Think
is
about
back when
the-
Joseph was managing. And he had like longer hair. And he
I'll be
has
able to
black
sleep
hair.
at night now. Thanks.
Well, our
you gotta turn them off.
Turn completely off. Turn them from red to blue to just completely off. So for those listening, we have LED lights strung around the room, and we use them to just kind of set the mood. And I had them as red for all the spookiness that was going on, but
Couldn't handle it.
he switched them to blue, and I was going to switch them off until he spotted my idea. Now I just turned them to like a purple.
But so Joseph walked away for a second, and he could hear her talking, but he wasn't near her at all. He was just sitting in our break room looking at his phone, waiting for her to be up. About 10 minutes goes by. He walks back up to her like, "Are you almost done?" She got scared. She's like, "Weren't you just standing over there?"
Yeah, what the fuck?
Ooh.
And this was on the other side of our
So-
deli and meat case,
So he could hear
which
her
is
the whole time.
the opposite way of where he was sitting.
Ooh.
So he could hear her the whole
Like,
time.
you guys have been in jeans, right?
It's been a long,
Yeah,
long time.
Like on the other side of the meat case and deli case, right in between where the beer and the meat, the other meat case is.
So
That's
they-
where they were standing.
They weren't close to each other. They shouldn't
No,
have been.
no.
But she thought he was right there.
But she
He
had her
thought-
back turned to that thing the whole time. She only seen something out of the corner of her
That's
eye.
what I mean. She
Yeah.
thought he was standing
Yeah,
over
yep,
there,
yep.
and he could still hear her. So he thought she was right near him.
Oh no, he knew that she was in the bakery. He just thought she was talking to herself.
He thought that she
Yeah,
thought
what
that
the
the ghost
fuck?
thought. She thought.
And then they
He
all
was
thought,
there.
okay.
And
Yeah.
now they're all
I wasn't trying to confuse
Yeah,
anything.
no,
I was
yeah.
just trying to figure this out. Okay.
Yeah, no, like there's a lot of crazy shit if you don't put your mind like in that aspect of knowing that it might be out there. You're gonna miss so much.
Dude,
So-
you know we gotta mess with Joel now.
Here is some personal stories
I'm gonna buy a wig.
from me. Now, I'm gonna flip it back to red just because
Oh,
I
do it up.
am trying to scare these guys a little bit.
It's gonna get too spoopy.
So,
Good thing I brought a spare pair of pants.
When I moved to Newaygo, which is that town that we were describing,
It's about
that had, plums in it that got switched into lemmings.
Yep.
I moved from North Dakota. After I moved to Newaygo, we ended up moving from there when I was going into 4th grade into Grant. Or actually Bailey, technically. And Bailey is just outside of Grant, just this little,
tiny
pin needle of a town.
tiny town.
It has a fire station, a post office, a
Or a
gas
village.
station, and a bakery, and that's it. So
Yeah.
I would call it a village instead of a town.
yeah,
It's
it's pretty much a village.
It's one of those ones where you drive through in about a minute.
Yeah,
Literally maybe 30 seconds.
Tom Brady could definitely throw a football from one end to the other. So,
That's a pretty fair. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
So
it's tiny.
when we moved from Newaygo to Bailey, we moved into a very, very, very old farmhouse, and literally the people that had lived there were friends with my grandparents. So
I already know where this is going.
I like it.
we were
I
we were
hate scary shit.
comfortably familiar with
hate
the
scary
people in the family that had lived in this farmhouse.
Oh fuck.
For starters, like I said, when I moved there, I was pretty young and I was going into 4th grade. My mom had this hutch where she kept her chinaware and stuff.
That's like a cabinet, right?
Pretty much. It's a cabinet that's got windows on the outside.
It's like the open front cabinet.
Okay,
Open
okay,
the front up.
yeah.
Let's make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I never knew
So-
that had a name.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
So the one that she had a light on it. And basically the way that the light worked is if you touched your finger to the hinge on one of it would light up the cabinet.
the interior of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the first things that started happening
Oh no.
was we'd all go to bed at night and all the lights would get shut off. Well, pretty much every single morning when my dad would wake up, him and my mom would get into fights because he kept on assuming that she was turning her hutch light on during the night or leaving it on when everybody went to bed, just to kind of you know how some people are. They're just oh, I want my chinaware to be lit up and look nice and everything. And at night, that's when it looks the nicest. So he would wake up in the morning, and he used to wake up at 5:30 because we lived on a farm. He'd wake up, put his coffee on, go out and take care of animals, come in, drink his coffee, eat his breakfast, and leave for work.
Right.
So when he would wake up in the morning, that hutch light would be on.
He was mad because
So he'd go over and shut it off really quick, and, it wouldn't turn on after that. But I kid you not, every single night, that hutch light would somehow get turned back on.
really.
Yep. So that was the first thing that happened.
Did they talk about hey, maybe?
No, they literally didn't. They didn't even think about it until my younger brother started having weird stuff happen to him. Now, when we moved to this farmhouse, my brother was probably, I can't think, he was around the age of being a toddler. Okay. And I mean, he right now is 17 and I'm 26. So for all you that are math junkies in the podcast listening, do the math.
Figure it out yourself.
So my younger brother, this is pretty much shortly after the hutch. My little brother all of a sudden conjures up the fact that he has an imaginary friend.
Oh, fuck.
His name is Bill.
And the old owner of the house name.
He says that this guy is walking around the house at night, and he says that his favorite thing in the whole entire world is balloons.
My arms and legs have chills.
I'm liking this.
I did not like this at all.
So, us as just normal people at that point in time, just it's a toddler with an imaginary friend that's in his head, whatever, whatever. So, until the house gets switched around a little bit. I'm downstairs, before all this happens, and my bedroom's downstairs. Well, my parents resituate the house to where I'm upstairs now. I'm actually in a room right next to my brother's. And my parents are downstairs, and my sister's downstairs. Well, one day, I'm up in the boys' room. I'm putting away clothes or something, and I go downstairs and turn the kitchen TV on. We were one of those families that had a TV on our countertop so we could watch TV whenever we were eating dinner. And I'm doing dishes or something at the time. And as I'm doing dishes, one of my brothers comes down and says, it was one of the kids that ran downstairs, and basically what they said forever has stuck with me. They say to me, they run downstairs and say, Devon, come quick. You're not going to believe it. There's shadows on the wall.
Oh, no.
I'm like, what do you, I'm you know, a teenager. I'm
I was
like,
going to say, how old did you say you were like?
I'm a teenager at this point when this is happening.
Okay,
and the whole house has gotten switched, and we've been there for a little bit. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I'm
shadows on the fucking wall.
like, it's daytime and stuff, and the windows are clearly open. So yeah, maybe there is shadows on the wall. Like, he's like, no, it's balloons. There's balloons floating on the wall.
No fucking way. Dude.
So
Do you?
I run upstairs.
You did.
I run upstairs, and as, like, I'm going upstairs, all of a sudden from that room, it sounds like somebody is running. And I'm, like, looking, and I'm like, is the other kids up there? And they're like, well, yeah. And I run up. They're right up on the stairs where the kids' room was.
Oh, fuck.
The running was coming from my bedroom. So I run in there, and I look, and I'm looking around and everything. My closet is shut, which I don't remember if I had it open or not. I quick ran over and opened it up and was looking in it and stuff. And the funny thing about it, and I don't know if it was the closet door that did it, but the shirts on the hangers were all, like, twisting and moving.
Fuck.
Like, somebody had just, like, dove behind them. So I'm looking around, checking everything, and I don't really see anything, and I just kind of shun that off. So that kind of stuff, like, kind of disappeared after that happened that day. And surprisingly enough, after that happened, my brother never really mentioned Bill ever again. I don't know why, but the only other occurrence that I've ever had of, like, paranormal stuff happening is this next thing. So as my sister was getting older, as I said before, she was staying on the bottom floor, basically, where my parents were, the first level of the house, the levels with the entrances and everything.
Fuck you, dude. Okay.
So it's about to get a little worse.
I don't like this worse.
So, and you know, me personally, the way that I look at it, I've never been, like, super scared. Like, I've been the type of kid that was like, we had a basement to this farmhouse, and I always used to hang out down there and have my TV and stuff down there because I used to like to chill down there and get some alone time from the kids and stuff.
I guess I don't like it. Because I do believe in it. I don't like it because
it's never, like, bothered me, and, like,
weird.
like, even more than that, I've never even, like, thought about it super hard, even though all this, like, crazy shit's happening. So my sister's getting older, and she has this little rundown, you know, like, little girl dresser, and my parents, my mom, specifically, one day is like, hey, let's switch your dresser out and get something nicer. I found something online. We just have to go get it. So she brings me and brings my sister, and we go out to this housing development, basically. We go and meet at this person's house, and we walk up, knock on the door, and it's an old man that answers. And he's like, hey, how's it going? And we're like, oh, hey, we seen your dresser posted online. Like, we were wondering if we could take it. And it's one of those ones where it's a dresser, and then it has one of those stand-up mirrors that bolt onto the back of it.
Okay, yeah.
So we're like, hey, we're really interested in it. It looked really nice. Can you mind if we check it out? He's like, yeah, sure, come on in. Just take your shoes off. So we walk in, and the first thing that I kind of noticed was there was, like, boxes and stuff, like, all over the house.
Like moving boxes?
Kind of like he was moving, which I didn't really put two and two together at first. So, as he was, like, describing, like, the dresser and stuff, and we were checking it out, he was just like, yeah, like, I'm in the process of moving, and he kept on referring to stuff as, like, like, he wasn't, like, it was just him.
He was moving, but somebody else was.
So we're, you know, pretty sold on the dresser. We're like, yeah, for sure, we'll take it. Well, as we're packing it up and, like, pulling the mirror off of it, I'm starting to notice that some of the boxes have, like, women's clothing and stuff in them.
So maybe his wife.
So eventually my mom asks, so what's the whole reason why you're getting rid of it to begin with? He's like, oh, it was my wife's and she passed away. And so, didn't really, at this point, we have it deconstructed and we're basically moving it.
You're just like, whatever, okay,
so
we're getting this fucking...
We're like, yeah, let's just take it, it's fine. So, we take it back home, we put it back together, and it's now in my sister's room. This is where shit starts to get a little off.
Like this.
So, the way my sister's room was set up, she has a window. So you walk, it's an old farmhouse. So you walk into her room, and as you walk into her room and swing her door open, you push it open, there would be a window behind the door. Straight ahead, if you're looking into the room, that's where her bed was, and then off to the right of where you'd be looking is where her dresser was. And then, beyond that to the right, at the end of the room, was her closet. So, the night that we brought the dresser home was the first time that stuff started to get a little weird. And the only thing that really happened was my sister started complaining about how her closet light was on, but she knows for a fact that she shut it off. We didn't think nothing of it. We were just like, you just forgot to shut it off. It's whatever.
Now, did she tell, like, just you or, like, the whole family? Like,
she was telling my parents, and I was there, listening.
You just, okay.
So I was in the background, like, stupid, you just forgot to shut it up.
Like, being a big brother.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said, okay, so
that was the first night.
First night, closet lights on.
So
now, does it stay, like, does it go on, off, on, off, or just it was on all night?
It was literally just left on all night.
Okay.
So, the next, like, following week, nothing really happened. Well, all of a sudden, we're sitting at the dinner table, and my brother goes, Bill came to me last night.
Oh, fuck.
I seen him in our bedroom, and I seen him walking down the stairs. So
okay, so this was just a few days after you had seen...
This is like a week later after... This time period that's happening now is probably like a year or two after what the big ordeal that happened with my brother. Now he's like a couple years older, and this was a shock to us because we had never, like, ever since that, like, balloon incident happened, he didn't say another word about him or nothing.
Okay. So after that, we're talking a year or so later.
So we're sitting at the dinner table, and all of a sudden my brother goes, hey, like, something weird happened last night, and I, like, don't know, like, what it was. And he's like, well, I saw Bill. Like, Bill was in our bedroom, and he was, like, walking down the stairs. And I was like, okay, like, I'm now upstairs, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, I would have heard something, because the stairs creak and stuff. Right. And he's like, well, I don't know, like, it scared me.
He was sure he'd seen this person that okay.
Well, my sister all of a sudden is sitting there, and she's like, well, last night, I had, like, kind of, like, half woken up, and I could have sworn that I seen my closet light
turn on as she was looking, like, she woke up and it turned on.
Like, the way that she described it, she was, like, in that half asleep state.
And dazed.
Kind of, like, groggy. And she said that she could have swore she heard the click. And then when she woke up the next morning, her light was on.
Okay.
So, we're talking about it that night, right? This is at dinner time.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing dishes, packing up leftovers. We go into the living room, which my sister's room is right next to the living room, right?
Okay.
All of a sudden, from her room, it sounds like there's a thud against the wall.
Like something shifted?
Like somebody, like, pounded their fist against the wall. And all of us in the living room, it was me, my sister, and my dad. My mom was in the kitchen now doing dishes. All of us kind of, like, almost like jumped. That's how loud it was.
Like, what the hell? Yeah.
And we were like, what the? And so my dad instantly shot out and went into the bedroom. And he was like, what the heck was that? And looked in there and there was nothing. He was like, it just...
Did he think it was like one of the kids at first or something? Like,
he's
around in there?
like, yeah, it must have came from upstairs. It couldn't have been from the bedroom, like, because the kids were upstairs monkeying around. And it was just me, my sister, and my dad in the living room watching TV at this point. The kids were upstairs, playing with their toys and stuff. Right. So my sister goes in the bedroom. And all of a sudden, she comes out, and she is, like, just bawling. She's like, there's something wrong with my mirror. There's And
oh my god.
she's like hysterical.
She's freaking out.
So my mom comes out. My mom has always been like kind of like the hysterical type. Like there's something like, so you know those like moms that are kind of like when they can't find their kid, they do that. Where's my kids? So she was the hysterical type.
Like
guy.
every TV show.
Well, she hears my sister crying, and she comes out, and she's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "There's something wrong with my knee." She's freaking out.
That's all she said. There's something wrong with it.
Yeah, so we go in there, and it almost looked like somebody had coated the surface of it with dust, and there were handprints.
What the fuck?
Right on the bottom of it. There was like 2 handprints right on the bottom right corner. So, a little freaked out, we're like, okay, that's kind of weird. So we're all looking at it, and we're like analyzing it. Even my dad's in there like, well, this has to be like one of the kids or something, man. Like, I mean, he's holding his hand up next to it. He's like, look, it's smaller than my hand, just by a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, but your hand is like an adult's. Like,
you got a big adult dude hand.
Yeah, so we're sitting there trying to make something up. My dad's like, well, simple solution. I'll just go through and clean the mirror. He cleans the mirror. Well,
because you said it had like a fine dust on it, like something that had been packed away for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that night, this is pretty much like when everybody's like going to bed, lights are getting shut off and everything. All of a sudden,
ready for bed.
She like jingles the door handle on her door and comes barreling out of her room, I guess, and was just bawling like crazy again. And my dad is down in the living room still watching TV because all the kids go to sleep, and then he hangs out for a little bit with my mom in the living room, and they go to sleep in the bedroom that's on the bottom floor. Yeah. I'm upstairs in my bed, and I hear my sister crying, so I go downstairs. And
did you say your room was next to hers?
No, mine's upstairs.
No,
next to the
okay,
kids,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I go barreling down the stairs, so I hear my sister crying, and the kids are like half asleep. They're like, "Dad, what's going on?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Nothing, just go back to sleep. It's fine." So I go downstairs, and my sister is like hysterical, and she's like, "The mirror did the thing again. The mirror did the thing again." And we go in there. There's handprints over the whole entire thing.
What the hell?
Whole entire thing.
Covered in dust.
Covered in dust. Whole entire thing. She had been like going to bed, and like the one thing that I noticed too is I asked her. I said, "Did you shut your closet light off?" And she said, "Yeah, the closet light was on." Literally the next day, I think we disassembled it, and she had to rock her clothes out of like a basket, and then like 2 days later, we got her another dresser.
Threw that motherfucker away.
And as soon as that dresser got out of there, like pretty much nothing happened. I do have one more, and I did debate whether to share this or not, and this is the only other occurrence that I've had, and this actually happened when I was pretty much older.
More recent.
So, I dated a girl in high school, and we actually ran together for probably about 5.5 years, so I got to know her family pretty well. Well, she had some cousins that lived out on, I don't know if you guys know where Fox Drive is.
Yep.
For those that don't know where Fox Drive is, if you head east out of Grant on a road called 120th. Now, this is the road that's got the school and stuff on it. You go past the fields a little bit out there. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
There will be a left turn that you can take that leads you basically on Fox Drive, which is like this twisty road that kind of
my smoking road.
This road kind of twists around and takes you back to Spruce, which is the road that kind of runs through Newaygo through Hesse.
Okay, I know.
So,
I got you.
So at this point in time, I'm hooked up with my girlfriend, and I wouldn't say I'm 20 years old because I moved out when I was 16. So I probably about 19 at this point, and we're kind of staying at my girlfriend's house mainly, but occasionally we'd go over and we'd stay at her cousin's house that would live on Fox Drive. So I would say probably like since it happened so recently, this is probably like the strongest and like most scared I'd say that I've ever actually been when it came to stuff like this. So one day we're out there, and this is probably we went out there and we stayed on Thursday. We stayed the night. We kind of, on Friday, just made the deal that, after we were done with, like, work and stuff on Friday, we were just going to come and hang out here for the weekend. And Sunday, we were going to go back to my girlfriend's house.
Yeah.
So, Saturday, we have plans to basically go out and hang out for the day. Like, we were either going to go walk the malls or do something like that. So we're all of us getting ready to leave on Saturday. I took a shower with my girlfriend, obviously. And, hot and steamy, baby. I come out of the shower, me and my girlfriend, we go in the back bedroom, we get dressed, and pretty much everybody else was ready. We all are leaving. Well, one of my girlfriend's brother's friends was with us, and he was like pretty much the last one to get ready. So we're walking out the door, and he is finishing up with the shower, and we're basically telling him, "Hey, we're gonna be out in the car waiting for you."
Right.
So we're like, okay. He's like, "Okay, I'll come out there." At this point, he's out of the shower, walking into a bedroom, going to get dressed. So, he comes out of the house, and he's got, like, a weird look on his face. And immediately, like, all of us, just knowing the personality he was, just kind of knew something was wrong. So we're like, what the hell's going on?
Like a confused look?
Yeah,
kinda?
like bewildered,
like,
but
what the fuck?
like scared. And for him, the personality that he was very, like, open, like, friendly, but at the same point in time, like, he was also the type that, like, didn't take any shit.
Probably didn't get shook very easily.
No, like,
okay.
if there was a fight, like, at a party or something, he was always the one that, like, jumped in the middle, wasn't afraid of, like, hardly anything, which got him into some trouble along the way, but anyway.
So that look was not...
So he comes out, and we're, like, pulling out of the driveway, and we get to the end of the driveway, and finally, my girlfriend's cousin turns around and is like, "Dude, what the hell's going on with you? Like
what the fuck? Why?
You look like something just happened.
Like,
did
you seen a ghost?
Did somebody tell you something? Like, did somebody text you something? Because at the time, his grandma wasn't doing real good.
Okay.
My girlfriend's
thought maybe he got some bad
brother's
news
friend.
or
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're all sitting there, and he's like, "No." He's like, "I just think it's weird." He's like, "I don't understand why you guys would have put like 3 or 4 chairs in the living room when you guys were leaving." So we just sit there for a second. We're like, all of a sudden, my girlfriend's cousin puts the car in reverse, and he starts backing up towards the house. He's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he's like, for some reason, there were chairs that were in the living room. There was like 3 chairs that were in the living room. One of them was facing the TV, and the other 2 were back to back.
Like these chairs?
Like dinner table chairs.
Okay.
They weren't tall ones like we have here, but they're like the shorter ones that you would just have, like some people have.
So not like a living room chair, like
no,
a recliner. Okay.
Yeah, like just dining room chairs, but they were in the living room. Yeah, they're just out of place.
They didn't keep them in there. Okay.
So we're like, well, he's probably just fucking with us, So we just, my girlfriend's cousin, who he was, walked back in. He's like, "Well, for one, if he's just fucking with us, I'm gonna be pissed that he moved my goddamn chairs in the living room." So, but at the same point in time, if he was just messing with us, wouldn't you think we would have just like came back to it? He wouldn't have said anything. And my girlfriend's cousin was like, "Yeah." And this is our conversation as we're walking back up to the house,
right?
And my girlfriend's brother's friend stayed in the car because he was like, "I ain't going back in there." So immediately we're kind of like, okay, something's a little fishy. So we go back in there. Sure enough, there's a chair that's literally right up to the TV. And just behind that, there's 2 chairs that are facing back to back. Weird, whatever. Didn't think nothing of it. Well, pushed the chairs back in the living room. Kind of did a walkthrough of the house.
That crew, like...
Yeah.
Somebody's fucking with them.
Just kind of checked it out, like, okay, maybe someone's in the house, and this is just kind of bizarre. So, walk back out. Well, as we walk back out, all of a sudden, my girlfriend's cousin is locking up the house, and all of a sudden it sounds like from inside the house, it sounds like there's chairs sliding.
That dragging chair across the floor sound that...
Yeah.
Anybody can think of in their head.
Exactly. So, all of a sudden, like, I'm walking back to the car, and I hear it just ever so faintly, and I turn back, and her cousin is like, "Stop," and he's like, got his head tilted like this, and he's like listening through the door,
so he can hear it.
Yeah,
obviously everybody can hear it.
He opens up the door, and there's a stacked up pile of chairs in the middle of the living room.
What the fuck?
Like, if anybody has ever seen any horror movie ever, like, you know how cherries just are just stacked
I'm got chills
on top of each
I like
other.
this shit.
Like, I mean, he walked in, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "What the fuck?" And I immediately started walking back up towards him. I was like, "Dude, what's up? Is there somebody in the house?" And he opens up the door, and I immediately have that feeling wash over me of like all the color just drained out of my face, and I'm looking at something that I have no idea how that's even possible.
There's no reason that these chairs should be stacked up that quickly.
Yeah,
Where they weren't stacked on top. They were just like in a pile.
they were stacked on top of each other. Yeah. One was on the ground, and the back side of it was on the floor. And so the seat is facing up towards the ceiling. There was another one that was stacked up on top of it to make like a rectangle shape, and the other two were set on top, back to back.
What the fuck?
So that is by far the scariest occurrence that I've ever had personally. And ever since that happened, me and my girlfriend refused to stay there ever again. My girlfriend at the time.
Understandable.
But, yeah, as far as I know, there was some other stuff that happened after we talked to my girlfriend's cousin, but they ended up moving out of there probably.
I'd have burned that bitch to the fucking ground.
They moved out of there probably 2 months after because there was a bunch of stuff that ended up happening after.
Dude, I couldn't live there. So I would have had to live this. I would have found a family member's house, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd be like, dude,
Spooky stuff.
I gotta live with y'all for a little bit.
Spookified.
That's really fucking weird, dude.
Mm-hmm. I've never really, like...
That's a good fucking story, though, dude. That's
Dude,
fucking crazy.
The reason why I made it tonight's, like, theme is because me and my coworker were on another job this week, and we were working together. And he had been reflecting, and I had told him about that story that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a damn near like 40-year-old guy, and he like stopped dead, and he had that like deadpan like pale look on his face.
That made me uncomfortable.
He was like,
I did not.
"You went through all that, and you still like don't even know." And he's like, "I would be for sure, dude." I was like, "No, like you can't.
You can't know unless you have like the equipment to know."
Well, even then,
some of the equipment is still faulty.
I feel like,
but the one that
you
can
can't really know
on
until you have like a deep personal experience.
You mean like people like say like the people that don't believe in this type of stuff?
Kind of. I feel like, so me personally, with everything that's happened to me when I was younger, I feel like the strongest, most like potent cases of paranormal like encounters that happen, it really depends on like the state of the person's soul and like emotions in that moment. If something happens like that, they're obviously going to be the people maybe that take like a step back and maybe say, "Okay, that was kind of weird."
Well, I mean, I think it would be safe to say like it's a lot to do with like your energy.
Yeah, makes them
not to be weird, but
makes them like more vulnerable to the stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and more receptive to.
Yeah,
I guess for lack of better words, maybe that like darker.
Mm-hmm.
That darker energy, kind of.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't really want to.
Well, not all spirits, I want to say, are dark.
No. Now, hear me out. This is what I was about to say. I don't really want to get into like religion because whenever you do you believe whatever. I'm cool with whatever. But I think for those that believe in heaven, then there would also be a hell. And well, if we have a soul, then it's got to go somewhere. And I think just like people, then some are good and some probably aren't. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think there's good spirits or souls and there's bad ones.
Yeah, for sure.
And like you said, if you're feeling like particularly negative, then maybe there is a relation between that and
maybe like a bad spirit.
Maybe they're more open to, because we can't see the other side, but maybe your energy brings you closer.
But anyway, that has been Great Lakes D&D Chilling with the Cast podcast, where we shoot the shit about some random shit. I am Devon the Dungeon Master.
I am Joel.
And you do what?
Alright, here we're just talking shit.
That's
Yeah.
Joel.
Yeah.
He's Chomper.
I just always refer to myself as the Dungeon Master just because.
This is Shaggy.
Yeah.
I do play Ace.
Yeah.
You know, when we're doing that stuff.
Yeah, I guess we will see you guys hopefully soon for our next campaign episode.
Share your spooky stories. Sorry,
Yeah,
man.
if you guys do listen to it, comment down below maybe some spooky stuff that's happened to you, or as we say here, spooky.
Share
We'll bring it up in the next Random Shit podcast.
We'll
We'll ask the other two
Maybe
group members about it.
Mason and Josh will have.
That's what I'm looking forward
Story.
to. Yeah, is when Mason and Josh come back.
Mason might have a good one.
We will definitely try to see what they have to say about some spooky encounters with the paranormal. But yeah, like I said before, chilling with the cast. I guess we will see you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, comment down below some spooky stuff, and as I said in the recording of episode 4, I'm going to start doing this now every single episode. To all of the people on all of our social medias and on YouTube that support us, follow us, and listen to our content, thank you. We are slowly trying to build this structure of a show together, and without all of you guys,
we're giving it a shot, man. You know, we're really putting a lot into this.
yes, and as listeners and fans and followers, without you guys as the structure behind it, trying to push us along, we wouldn't be getting anywhere. So,
And I do believe we have we've got a Twitter,
Yep, we
we've
have
got
Twitter,
Instagram.
Instagram. I think we only have a Facebook page.
There's a Facebook.
we have a Reddit. We have a Reddit as well.
and those are
and
all
then a TikTok.
are all at Great Lakes D&D. Our TikTok's Ace at Great Lakes D&D.
Yep. And we've social medias across the board, and like I said, a lot of people have been slowly starting to fall in and really show their support and stuff. So we appreciate it.
If you guys like this stuff, subscribe, follow, comment, whatever. If you guys like the content, other people that might like it, show them our stuff, and we're gonna keep the content rolling for you guys.
Great Lakes D&D, baby. We'll
Peace
see
out.
ya.
Peace.